Hello and welcome once again to this discussion on the ILP row in the hill state of Meghalaya. A delegation of the MDA cabinet led by Chief Minister Conrad Sangma met Union Home Minister Amit Shah over the ILP issue last evening at New Delhi. Shah apparently assured the delegation that the centre is examining the resolution passed by the Meghalaya Legislative Assembly for the implementation of an inner line permit system in the state. During the 40-minute long meeting with the Union Home Minister Amit Shah, the delegation was also assured that the centre will never allow dilution of tribal rights. The Meghalaya government delegation expressed its satisfaction over the development, over the meeting, but the pressure groups in the hill state are not at all happy. In fact, both the COMSO, which has been spearheading the movement demanding ILP in the state, and the KSU, the influential students' body, have expressed strong reservations over the delay in the implementation of ILP in the state. Not only this, they have also threatened to intensify the agitation demanding ILP. So, should it be assumed that there are tough times ahead for the Conrad Sangma-led government as far as tackling the ILP agitation, the ILP row is concerned? What would be the next step of the government, the state government under the circumstances? Well, it was apparently satisfied with the meeting yesterday. The CMO's office had conveyed a written communique to most of the media houses, and that came to be known this morning. But the reaction of the pressure groups has not been as expected by the government. So when the pressure groups say they are going to intensify the agitation, what do they exactly mean by that? What can be the possible implications? These are questions doing rounds today, especially after that very crucial meeting, the ILP meeting with Union Home Minister Amit Shah. To take the discussion forward, I'll be joined by COMSO Chairman Robert June Kharjareen from Shillong. Also joining me from Shillong is Assistant Professor Batskam Marbo from the Political Science Department of Synod College. Welcome, sir. Thank you so much for being on Northeast Live. In the course of the discussion, we'll also be joined over the phone by Donald Thaba, the General Secretary of the KSU. If I can go to Robert June Kharjareen, the COMSO chairman first. Robert June Kharjareen, what is your first reaction to the outcome of the meeting between the Meghalaya delegation led by Chief Minister Conrad Sangma and Union Home Minister Amit Shah? Kharjareen.
We are very disappointed. We expect more than just a meeting. We expect more than just a comment that the Home Ministry will still studying the matter. Actually, ILP resolution was then for almost 2 months already. So we expect that the Home Minister will give a more commitment to the issue of underlying permit in the state of Meghalaya. So right now we are very disappointed, and as we say time and again that it seems like Delhi is a bit far from Meghalaya, from Northeast as a whole. The voice of the indigenous people of Meghalaya has not been heard by the Home Ministry and by Delhi. So we are disappointed, and we just have our meeting also.
Disappointed.
And we have already discussed to further intensify our agitation for the demand of ILP into the state of Meghalaya.
Okay. If I can have Professor Marbo. Professor Marbo, was the outcome of yesterday's meet with Union Home Minister Amit Shah on expected lines? The pressure groups are also calling it as some sort of delaying tactics. Was the outcome on expected lines, or are you surprised?
Hello, Mr. Goswami. The line is not clear. I can't hear you.
Okay, I'll repeat the question for you.
The line is not clear.
Yeah, I'll repeat the question for you. The meeting between the MDA delegation.
There is a problem with the line. Yeah.
Okay. We'll come back to you. We'll fix the line and come back to you, Professor Marbo. If I can go to Robert June Kharjareen once again. Robert June Kharjareen, do you think it's amply clear now that the state government probably never took the centre into confidence, or even gave a hint probably before passing a resolution on the ILP in the State Assembly, and hence this, we still have the centre saying we are examining the ILP resolution passed by the Meghalaya Legislative Assembly.
We don't know that what is happening between the central and the state, but we don't know whether they have took into confidence or not, because we never witnessed such an incident. But since we represent the people of the state as the CSO, we would like to make it very clear that the aspiration of the indigenous people to have an airline permit, so that we will be able to protect ourselves from being outnumbered in our own land, has been a long pending demand, and it has become our right nowadays, because we have a right to be self-protected. So I don't know whether they have a pre-discussion or not with the union government before they pass a resolution. But this issue is a genuine issue. But this issue is the aspiration and the wish of the people of the state.
Okay.
So we do hope that the union government will consider that and will respect the aspiration of the indigenous people of the state.
If I can go back to Professor Marbo, my question to you, Professor Marbo, was that are you surprised by the outcome of the meeting that took place between the MDA delegation and Union Home Minister Amit Shah? Was there unexpected lines? Was the narrative already heading that way, or there was a real hope that the centre will give a nod? Are you surprised by the outcome of the meeting, or do you think the outcome was unexpected lines? The fears have come true.
The outcome of the meeting that he had yesterday between the leaders of the MDA government from Meghalaya and the NDA government at Delhi was very much on the expected line. In your show yesterday, I already said that the Indian state, or the people who rule at Delhi, in Delhi, they usually respond to the issues that are raised in Northeast India according to their convenience, according to their perspective, and according to what serves their interest. The demand for ILP in Meghalaya, I myself, right from before, I already expected that the government of India would not agree so easily. There are a number of reasons to that. The first reason is, when we talk about the ILP, the renewed demand of ILP since the enactment of the CAA last December, we should remember that it is linked with the Citizenship Amendment Act 2019. So here, when you look at why ILP is implemented in Manipur, is also linked to the CAA, because in my opinion, the central government wanted to have a weak, or rather they don't like to have a strong anti-CAA protest in Northeast India. So because Manipur used to be a strong center protest, and in order to weaken the protest of ILP, they gave ILP to Manipur in order to weaken the movement. And when we talk about ILP in Meghalaya, we should remember that, as I said, ILP is linked with CAA, and Meghalaya is already exempted from the purview of the CAA because it is already a 6th scheduled area. It is only a few square kilometers in Shillong, the area which is
yes.
Hello. Yes.
So,
and therefore, to me, I would not be at all surprised when the government of India, they said that they will take the time to examine the demand for the implementation of ILP in Meghalaya. And also, another reason, when we talk about the demand of ILP in Meghalaya, it is standing on not a strong ground. The reason is, all the political parties in Meghalaya, except one or two which are the weak parties, that is the HSPDP and the KNAM, all the political parties in Meghalaya before 2019, before the enactment of the CAA, they were not in agreement to implement the ILP in the state. We should remember that the Congress party was strongly against ILP.
Yes.
The BJP was strongly against ILP. NPP was against ILP. Then even UDP did talk about another form, a revised kind of an ILP in Meghalaya. So you do not agree to the Bengal Eastern Frontier Regulation of 1873. So certainly, when when the CEA is in place, now you say that we want ILP. But here the argument that the central government would give is, when you are when you are already exempted from CA, why do you need ILP?
Absolutely.
So that is
Absolutely.
that is a logic that the central
Yes.
government would give to the state of Meghalaya.
Yes, that's a very good point that you have raised. We'll come back to that point in a while. But right now, I'm being joined over the phone by Donald Thaba, General Secretary of the KSU. Donald Thaba, welcome to Northeast Live. Clearly, even the KSU is not happy with the outcome of the meeting with Union Home Minister Amit Shah last evening. What will be your next course of action, Donald Thaba?
You see, with regards to our next course of action, actually, the course of action on the part of the KSU, along with three other organizations consisting of the FKJGP, HNYS, and RBYF, we have been touring the length and breadth of the Kasi and Jaintia Hills, whereby we are garnering support from the public to us to oppose the Citizenship Amendment Bill and also for the implementation of the inner line permit. Yes, the government had a series of meetings with the central government. It had been delayed many a times also, but yesterday they were able to meet. The outcome of the meeting was not satisfactory to the union and to the people of Meghalaya as a whole. But however, as leaders of the community and as the leader of the Khasi Students' Union, I would like to state that it will not be wise for us to be cynical at this juncture, because we do not want to. We want to put a ray of hope on the people's minds. So we are not sure whether we are going to get ILP or not. Based on what the Home Minister is saying, it's like it's like a 50-50 chance. So we were hopeful that so as to ensure that there will be no breakdown of law and order situation in the state, and also not to compel us, the frontal NGOs of the state, into organizing aggressive agitation. We were hopeful that the central government will grant ILP to the state of Meghalaya, because the fight for ILP has been since the 1980s. So we were hopeful that we will get ILP this time. If not, then God knows.
So will you at this juncture seek an appointment with the Chief Minister, or send a memorandum to the centre, probably to the Prime Minister, or will you go ahead with an agitation?
During the last year, before the implementation of the Citizenship Amendment Act, we have met the Union Home Minister, Mr. Amit Shah. The KSU have submitted a separate memorandum. The Northeast Students Organization has submitted a memorandum. The government of Meghalaya, along with other stakeholders, which also includes the Khasi Students Union, we have submitted a memorandum. And in the memorandum of the Khasi Students Union, we have been debating ILP. That is not the first instance. Before that also, during our tenure, we have submitted to the then Home Minister, Mr. Rajanath Singh, seeking for the implementation of ILP in all the, not the entire Northeast region, but all the states within the Northeast region, which includes Meghalaya. So we have been submitting a series of memorandums to the central government and also to the state government. So we think that maybe submitting a memorandum again this time will not be appropriate for us. But what we are going to do, we will take a call on that regarding on the outcome of the decision of the central government.
Okay, and lastly, Donald Thaba, will we again see all the NGOs, pressure groups in Meghalaya unite in their stir demanding the implementation of ILP? Will we see a coordinated effort? Yes, even the KSU, the COMSO, the HYC, the JSU, the FKJGP, all have been on the same page, but we have not really seen a real concerted effort in the last few months as far as the ILP protests are concerned. So will we see all of these groups coming together to put up a concerted effort in the days to come?
Well, you see, for the demand for the implementation of ILP and the opposition to the CAA, it does not necessarily mean that we should all come under one platform. But the most important thing is that we should have the same objective, which we should be on the same boat. So you see, if we are organizing a process today, then the SPGGP will organize it tomorrow, HNIF, then day after the Karo Students Union, then they will do it. Maybe we might do it. It doesn't matter. The more pressure that the NGOs can give them, the thing that matters the most is that the more pressure that we can give to the central government, then that will be better.
All right, thank you so much, Donald Taba, for your perspective on this issue. That was Donald Taba, General Secretary of the Khasi Students Union. If I can go back to Robert June Khajrin. Robert June Khajrin, the state government had, after the meeting, sent out a release. The CMO's office had sent out a release expressing satisfaction with the centre's assurance. Has any communication being sent from the government side to the COMSO or the other groups post last night's meeting, probably giving more details of the discussion?
Yes, we have seen the press statement given by the CMO office, and there is no official communication yet by the CM or by the minister who met Amit Shah yesterday. There's no official communication yet. But to say that the state government is happy on the assurance, I think it's something that need to be condemned. How can they be happy when the people of Meghalaya want ILP and ILP has not yet been granted? How can they be happy? It is foolish to say that they are happy. Now the question that we want to put forward to the CM and the others, minister and the NDA government as a whole is that what is your next move? What is the next plan supposed to be done by the government? Will they wait for the examination of the Home Ministry? And if they wait for how many days, months, years, how many months, how many weeks, how many years that they will wait for that examination? Because most of the time, the moment they say examination means do nothing, delay and delay. So we can no longer accept this delay, and we have enough problem of influx of immigrants into the state, and it's high time that this issue will settle one and for all, so that the state of Meghalaya one and for all will go ahead toward progress, peace, and
so do you see this
peace and development in the state as a whole?
Yeah. So do you see this as a sort of delaying tactics by the centre? Nothing substantial has come so far. Moreover, the state government too has not been able to really push through with the issue. Do you see this as a delaying tactics, probably both on the side of the state government and the centre as far as the ILP issue is concerned?
Yes, as I tell again and again that the issue of ILP in the state of Meghalaya has been a long pending demand, and actually, if you see the history of it, it started from 1973, which means 1 year after we get our own statehood, and is pending for 47, 48 years now, and that is the first thing. And secondly, ILP is not some new thing in India. It has been implemented in 3 states before, and now in Manipur, 4 states already. So what is there to be discussed, to be examined further? We are not different from any other state in Northeast. We are not different from Manipur or from Nagaland, Mizoram, or whatsoever. So if the same could be given to the people of this state, I do think that we are also tribal. We are also from Northeast, and we also must have a law so that we will be able to protect our own identity.
Point taken. Professor Batskar Marbo, just digressing a bit, do you think there is a real need, immediate urgent need for ILP in Meghalaya? It's already covered under the 6th schedule, and almost the entire state, 97% of the state is covered. And of course, ILP comes with a lot of baggage. Assumed. A lot of assumptions are there that it will hit tourism, it will discourage investors, and a lot of other stuff. So do you think Meghalaya has done, if you can say done well without ILP for the last 40 years? Do you think there's a real need for it, or we can do without ILP if the system is in place, if the authorities, the police, the district administration, they are functioning well? Do you think there is a real need for the ILP?
Okay, regarding the need of ILP, there is always a debate in the state. There are those people who are for and those people who are against the implementation of the ILP, and both come forward with their own points. But one thing I would like to make a statement here is ILP movement has been going on for a long time, and this issue of influx, especially when we talk influx, we talk about the migration of the non-tribals from the other parts of India and especially from Bangladesh, which is a major concern, not only of Meghalaya but Northeast. You see that ILP movement has generated a lot of passion, has generated a lot of disturbance in the state of Meghalaya. If one thing I would say that what holds back the development in Meghalaya, one I can say that is this kind of ethnic movement that is going on year after year, decades after decades.
Absolutely.
So we need this issue to be settled once and for all so that we can go ahead. You see, let us, I will say here, one of the positive impact of the implementation of ILP in Meghalaya is that it will stop this kind of a movement. If this kind of a movement will stop, then maybe the state from the identity politics which consumed the state for a long time, maybe they have a chance to go for developmental politics also. But so far, what has prevented Meghalaya, I can see, is the ILP movement and the anti-migration movement which has been going on. We need this issue to be settled once and for all. And as far as I can observe from what is going on in the state, the various pressure groups in the state, they will not rest, they will not stop unless and until they get ILP.
So
whether ILP will be effective or not effective to prevent the
You feel ILP,
Yeah.
ILP can act as the one-stop solution for Meghalaya to move from identity politics to development politics. That can indeed happen if the ILP is implemented in the state.
You see, what is interesting to note in the state of Meghalaya, people here since the 1970s, together with Assam. In Assam, they launched the strong anti-foreigners movement in 1979. Meghalaya also, they experienced that kind of a movement during the same time, and it has been continuing. So here in Meghalaya, for the last so many decades, for nearly 5 decades, the politics has been the politics of identity, the politics of migration, the politics of threat perception from the people coming from outside the state. We need to stop this. We need to end this problem. You see, what I can understand is one way to stop this is to, implement ILP. As I said, whether ILP will be effective or not effective to solve the problem of migration, but at least it will stop this kind of a movement. Another thing here, once this issue is settled, then so far the developmental politics or the good governance politics in the state of Meghalaya is missing, because all the pressure groups and the political parties also, they exploit that. All the energy in the state has been going on towards the identity politics, and therefore if this issue is settled, then the direction, the energy in the state can be directed towards developmental politics. So far, in Meghalaya, there has been very less demand. There has been very insignificant demand from the people for good governance. Meghalaya is one of the states that I can say that suffers from lack of good governance.
Absolutely.
But so far, no one, in fact, or very little demand has been made or little voice has been made in the state to improve governance. What Meghalaya seriously need is good governance, whether in infrastructure, education, health. Meghalaya is sliding back, and we need to come out of identity politics.
Absolutely. Need of the hour. If I can go back to Robert June Khajrin. Robert June Khajrin, what will be the next course of action for the COMSO? You have already said the agitation will be intensified. So what can we expect next?
We are a civil society. I think you know that we must contain ourselves toward democratic agitation. But this time we would like to have an agitation which is more inclusive,
Okay.
which is more participatory from all stakeholders. We will soon have a meeting with the intellects of the state.
Intellectuals,
We will
okay.
try to have a meeting with the traditional body like the Dorbar Hima, the
Okay.
Ilaka, the Dorbar Snong, the clan authority, and I do feel this is the right timing that we as the CSO of Meghalaya must come under one banner to fight to
exactly.
the very
Yeah.
important issue of the survival of the indigenous
Yeah,
people.
that is the
of state
same
as well.
question I also put to Donald Thaba. Will you also have a meeting with other pressure groups like the KSU besides the traditional heads to come under one platform to demand the ILP? And will you also reach out, say, to the opposition parties, or it will be restricted to the CSOs and traditional bodies as of now?
I think our first phase with that we will try to meet the intellect first.
Okay.
Intellect, we will ask their opinion, their advice, and we will meet the traditional institution and the CSO, including CSU or KSU and others. And of course, we will continuing pressuring the political party to remain in the right track, because at last political party will be the one who will push the MLA and the minister to continuing demand ILP from the union government.
Absolutely. So clearly the pressure groups not happy. Professor Marbo here feels that ILP, implementation of ILP is important because it may take the state out of identity politics to development politics. That's a very good point mentioned. But the Conrad Sangma-led government in the state definitely has to tackle the agitation that may start now, immediately after what the pressure groups are terming as a not so fruitful meeting with the Union Home Minister. We'll keep a track of all the developments in Meghalaya. Thank you so much, Professor Bhaskar Marbo. Thank you so much, Robert Jun Kajrin. That's a wrap of this discussion.